Good morning, everyone. It is a nice sunny Sunday, and I'm making an old family recipe for Easter bread that I used to make with my mom every year. And I just thought I would record it. How fun. Every time I make this recipe, I think of my mom and how much fun we used to have making it together. So every time I make it, I feel like she's here with me. And I'm actually wearing the apron that she used to always wear. It's an apron that she received as a gift from one of her friends in Germany, and it's like wax covered fabric or plastic, kind of like one of those rubberized tablecloths, and it has wire in it, so you just wrap it around and it makes you feel like you're being hugged while you're making your recipe. So anyway, I'm going to start by zesting the lemon. I like this zester because it just takes the very top of the zest and none of the pith. Because the pith is a little bit bitter. So I'm just going to pause for a little bit and I'll come back when I'm done with the zesting. So I'm just going to set aside this zest on this piece of wax paper for now and continue with the rest of the recipe, which is 2 envelopes of rapid rise yeast into a bowl with half a cup of warm water. Whisk that together with 1 cup of flour. Cover with wax paper. This is actually beeswax wrapped paper. And I'm going to place this in the warmed oven. I just turned the oven on at 200 and then turned it off to keep it warm. Next, I'm going to measure 4.5 cups of flour and sift that and place it in a bowl. There's a blue jay visiting me from Connecticut out there. I don't know if you can hear it. I love blue jays. So I'm just going to I spoon the flour into the measuring cup, and then you level it off with, I use chopsticks. So that's 1 cup. Okay, and I'll break here and come back. And I'm just going to sift this. 4.5 cups of flour. And I'm just going to set this flour aside. Okay, now I need some lemon juice, so I'm just going to cut the lemon in half that I zested earlier and squeeze the lemon juice out. And I need 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I know that that's approximately 1 lemon's worth. So that's about half a tablespoon. And here's the other half. And this smells so good. It's going to go into the mixer with 3/4 of a cup of butter. And the lemon zest that I zested earlier. One cup of sugar. And 1 teaspoon of salt. And I need 2 eggs and 1 egg white. And I'm going to save the yolk for later in the refrigerator. So I'll just put that yolk in the fridge. And I need to beat these eggs until they are soft. And next I'm going to add this to the mixer that has the butter and the sugar in it. And this looks a little sort of viscous, not nice and smooth like you would expect dough to look, but it gets smooth later on. I'm just going to take a spatula and scrape down the sides, make sure everything is mixed together. And the next step is to add the yeast mixture. So I'm going to get it out of the oven. Next step is to add about half of the flour. I'm just going to push down, scrape down the sides of the bowl to get everything mixed in well. And some more flour, just incorporating it in slowly. It smells so good, like lemon and yeast, and just like the old days. Brings me right back to making this in the kitchen with my mom. My brother Peter made it this year too. He made his yesterday. He and Pane made it. He said that it had trouble on the second rising, but I told him it will still taste good. So I'm just going to take this out and turn it out onto the table, and I'm going to flour the surface first and just give it a couple of kneads. So I'll be right back. Okay, this is the fun part. So I just put a little bit of flour on the table, and I'm just going to dump this dough on top. Scrape everything out of the bowl. And just pushing it down with the heels of your hands. This part right here. And I have this bowl that I've oiled. Just going to spread the oil around. And the dough goes into the bowl and into the oven to rise. First you put it in the bowl, and then you turn it around to get the top oiled. And I'm going to use that same bees wrap to cover it. Just to keep it moist. And that goes into the oven. The oven was set at about 200, and then once it got to 200 I shut the oven off just because it's a little chilly today and I want that dough to rise in a nice warm place. So I will pause here, and hopefully in a couple hours it'll be risen. See you soon. Bread has risen for the first time. Dough has risen. I'm going to take this out and roll it out into two pieces, separated into two pieces. I'm roughly cutting it in two. Cut each one of these in half. And just roll it out. And do the same with the other one. And then I'm going to cover it back up with the wax paper. Place a damp tea towel on top. And place it back in the warm oven to rise for a second time. Keeping my fingers crossed. So the bread has doubled in size, the dough, and the next step is to place these colored eggs between the spaces in the braids. So I'm just going to do that. Bake this for 10 minutes at 325. The next step is to brush the bread with 1 egg yolk and 1 tablespoon of milk. So this is the egg yolk that I saved in the fridge, and I just added 1 tablespoon of milk. And then sprinkle with multicolored candies. I don't know if you can hear the train, but it's the next day. It's the day after Easter Monday. We weren't brought up to be religious at all, but Mom always made the Easter bread. So it was the best part of the holidays without all the religious dogma. Pretty good way to be brought up. Okay, now this goes back into the oven for 40 to 45 minutes until the bread has baked to a golden brown. While that's baking, I thought I would just shuffle my cards and pull one card for the day. And the card is the Eight of Cups, Renounce, Pisces. Right there. This is interesting because I had to renounce or let go of some of the issues that were in my mind, some of the problems that I was thinking about as I was making the Easter bread yesterday. I need to let go of the negative thoughts and just do what I enjoy and just concentrate on having fun. So I think that's a very fitting card. Okay, the timer went off. I'm going to take the bread out of the oven. And it looks nicely browned and delicious. She's done. This certainly was a lesson. I learned that I'm not going to use the bees wrap next time. It's better to just use the wax paper and a damp tea towel. And next time I will get white eggs instead of brown eggs, although these do look beautiful, don't they? Kind of an autumnal Easter bread. Anyway, I can't wait to let it cool and slice a piece for breakfast. Still pretty hot. And that was 10 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm going to give it another 10 minutes to cool. I can't wait to eat this. Okay, let's see.
She will come out now.
Sometimes it needs a little help. I was thinking about how this making bread is kind of reminds me of one of the things about this bread making reminded me of my card of the year, which is the Hermit. Normally, it wouldn't take overnight for the bread to rise and double in size. It would just take a couple of hours, but sometimes you need to stay in the dark, in the warm, dark, deep recesses of your mind for development to take place. So that's what this bread needed. It needed to sit in the oven, in the dark, warm oven for overnight. Oops. To this takes a little patience sometimes. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think I'll take this nice little purple section here. Just a small piece for breakfast. boy. And I'm going to put some butter on it. Of course, even though it has plenty of butter already. I'm going to put some more butter in it, and crack my egg open and eat that for breakfast. Well, if you've made it this far, I hope you've enjoyed my bread making journey. I had fun doing it, and it's fun to document something that's been